Good afternoon, everyone. I am here with my friend Jeff Moyer from Pennsylvania. How are you, Jeff?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I am doing great. This is the first of many. This is a new podcast that we're launching with you, Jeff, and it's called Successful Posturologist. Having been teaching this for years, I've seen people do well with the system. I've seen people study it, not use it a single time. And I find for people who have invested time and money in learning posturology, I would at least like to know that they've used it on themselves, on people that they're close to, and if they see fit on clientele. And I know a lot of people that have taken the course really like where the concepts are coming from, really want to practice, but they might not even know it. I might not even know what's missing, but maybe pieces of the puzzle are missing for them. So this is the whole point of this podcast, is to interview people who've gone from this shit is really cool to I'm using this on like a whole bunch of people, and so we can all
Mm.
learn from the people who've done well with the system. So you're obviously a prime example of that. So Jeff, if you want to introduce yourself, and then you're going to tell us exactly what the hell did you do to make this work.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, Jeff Moyer. I own DC Sports Training for the last 13 years. I'm here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Background is more, well, I was a history teacher, kind of fell into more the strength and conditioning side of things. I fell into opening a business. It wasn't a plan, just kind of happened. More as a traditional S&C guy with a little bit of background. I worked at a sports medicine orthopedic practice for a couple of years, so I had a bit of background with that. I'm from New York State, which is a little, even though it's north, a little bit different than Pennsylvania. When I got here, chiropractic care is huge here in Pittsburgh. I go outside and I'll throw a rock. I'll hit three chiropractor facilities from my house. It's that prevalent, and people go to chiropractors for hangnails, they go for colds, they go for headaches, they go for everything. And this is not a knock on chiropractic care, but just in New York State, it's not common practice. We have more physical therapies and very rarely chiropractor. So I was not used to that at all. And I wanted to know why. And why did not just the why, but why did clients have to keep going back every month to get adjusted? Why is their rib out? Why are their hips off? Why are we having these issues? And then COVID hit, and our mutual friend Dan Fichter introduced me to you with first the IP method, which introduced me to neurological development, which was hugely eye-opening and a game changer for me. Explained a lot of what I saw in my upbringing, what I was seeing with my firstborn there, and what I've seen with a lot of athletes I'd work with. I'd done a lot with sports vision training, and wouldn't say I was batting 1,000 with improving everyone's vision. And there was just some cases that when I asked some experts, they'd be like, "Well, maybe they ate paint chips as a kid, and that's just how they are," or maybe they were, dropped on their head as a baby, and that's just how they were, and just why couldn't they get full convergence? Why couldn't they do these certain things? Why did they struggle with binocularity or whatever it may be? And there was no real reason. And learning the IP method and about primitive reflexes and things started to really open my eyes to, like, all right, there's some different things out there that can give me some answers. So when I started implementing that stuff, I saw huge gains in those things, as I mentioned, and I wanted more. I wanted to learn more. And you had talked about posturology. Dan had talked about posturology a bit, and I was intrigued. You kind of won my trust over with IP and the results I was seeing from implementing that. So I just wanted to keep chasing, man. I'm a results guy. So as a history teacher, I don't have a formal education in exercise science or physiology or any of that stuff, which there's a catch 22, kind of sucks because I should, being in the field. But on the same end, it's allowed me to kind of have this, like, I'm just going to chase results. I'm not chasing any one school of thought. I'm not chasing any one echo chamber, anything like that. I'm chasing results. And so I consider myself a resultsist. And your IP stuff and the neurological development stuff gave me results and started really opening my eyes to there's a whole other world. I'm a big fan of Marvel comics and Marvel movies, and I love Doctor Strange, and I love his story as a Western neuroscientist that couldn't solve his own problems and started going, across seas and lands and found this alternative stuff and it kind of blew him open. And that's how so I've kind of considered myself, trying to be Doctor Strange. I'm trying to find the alternative stuff. And when I say alternative to here in the
Yep.
United States, it's not an alternative to, people in France who's been doing posturology for 30 years or what have you. And so I bit the bullet and I took the posturology course, and it gave me more answers. It gave me more reasons for why I was seeing the things I was seeing with people's feet, with balance, with the eyes and the vestibular system. You gave me a lot of reasons for just some of the things that started coming more and more prevalent, unfortunately, with kids, with the athletes I was seeing. And I apologize. The athletes I generally see are middle school, high school, and college level athletes for anyone that's listening. But I was seeing more and more kids with migraine issues. I was seeing more and more kids that had car sickness issues. More and more kids with learning troubles and problems. And it was just like, what, I don't know. Maybe it was just that's just what I attracted or what have you. But just like, all right, what's going on? And again, your neurological development stuff, IP, Dr. Melillo, and then posturology really started giving me some answers. And so, yeah, I just went all in, man. I'm a results first person and started seeing the results right away with my own son. We you talked about primitive reflexes in the posturology course, and my son had some few, and so as soon as I could, I got the postural insoles on him and tested his reflexes. I have a video I can send you, Maddie, if you want to link it to the show notes. And his reflexes went away. I was like, holy shit. No one else in the neurological development world was talking about that, using postural insoles, recalibration insoles for primitive reflexes and things. And you were just talking about things that were just like, I don't know, pretty awesome to me. So I've been using posturology now for the last 5, 6 years, from kids 5, 6, 7 to adults in their 70s, and everything in between, man. So it's been a huge game changer for me, and I can't not see it now. It's a lens that you've given me that I just can't take off when I work with people. From asymmetries to tone issues to just things that you talk about in the course. So it's a huge tool and a huge part of what I do.
I like the fact that you stipulated the types of clientels you work with, because I think for a lot of practitioners taking this course, this might even be one question they have right off the bat is, who do I use this on, right? And so the bulk of the people you work with are young developing athletes, but you've organically received referrals for their parents and for, tell me a bit more about how that unfolded in your practice.
Yeah, I would have some athletes that'd be like, hey, they'd come to me, or they just had it when I was working with them with lower back pain, for instance. And, I would do certain things and techniques and maneuvers, and sure, it would give them relief, but it wouldn't really stick. And, so trying to sell the insoles, I'm not a salesperson by nature. That's just not what I want to do. That's not who I am. I struggle with that. But I was like, listen, buy these insoles, use them how I tell you to for several months, and if you don't see results, I'll buy them right back. So I started winning people's trust that way. So that way it kind of took off some of the well, okay, well, this is expensive. I don't know. This is an expense. And all of a sudden, those athletes' back pains went away. The knee pain went away. With athletes, and it just kind of referred, and they would tell their brother and sister. They would tell their mom and dad, and mom and dad would tell the next person, and that's just kind of how it worked. And there is as much debate as there is in the United States about posture. There are people that do believe posture matters. Now they only understand it from a mechanical standpoint, but they do believe that posture matters. And so it's not anything that I push. I don't push posturology on anyone, but when there's a problem, I'll bring it up. And if they're interested, we'll continue further with a postural assessment and going through the whys. But when they would go for it and I would show them, we'd go through a postural assessment, we'd use the insoles, we'd do some exercises, and then we would retest, and they'd be like, oh, damn, okay, yeah, I feel better. wow, yeah, I'm not swaying, I'm not doing this, I feel more stable, and all of these things. It just it started working. Unfortunately, I also do, I can't say rehab because I'm not a medical professional, so I recondition people. And unfortunately, I recondition athletes who've had some ACL tears or some injuries, and we'll talk about posturology and addressing the nervous system, and they're in. And then, we've had several ACL athletes be cleared and to return to sport by doctors in 6 months. And the postural insoles play a large role in that, I believe, especially after major injuries such as an ACL. And it just becomes word of mouth.
Buy these insoles because you need them. Um, and if it doesn't work, I'll buy them back from you. And I want
Mhm.
people listening to this to understand just how gutsy of an approach that is, and 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 basically the amount of trust that you have in your product, I think, is what makes you great at bringing an offer to market. So first off, you also mentioned you tried it on your son, and I suggest to practitioners starting to try the system first on people that are close to them. My first client was my dad. It's in my book. Like it's out for anyone to know. Like my dad was listening to the few things I asked. He was walking better. My mom was like, "Geez, your dad, his knees are getting better, and he's getting older, so none of that makes any sense for her, right?" So start with people that are close to you, appreciate what it's doing for them, and then you won't ever have to sell anything because you're going to have conviction, which is, I know what you've had from the start. And then 6 years into this now, it can only be, as you've said, more conviction because it's a lens that you have on now that you
Yes.
just can't remove. And so I never feel like I'm selling anything. I know you don't as well. And we both go out, you and I, on the market saying you'll actually get better every 6 weeks. Like that's our narrative, right? When people follow through on the protocol, you've gone a step further than me, which is that you were like, yeah, you're saying I'll buy back the insoles. I've never actually gone that far, but that shows to me the dedication and just the conviction you have for this. And so I do want practitioners listening to this podcast thinking, you know what? How much do I buy into it? And there's no right or wrong answer, right? This is not a moralistic
Mm.
thing. It's just if you as a practitioner took the course and if you feel like you're bringing this to market and it's difficult, and I hear from a lot of practitioners, oh, but people are skeptical. I'm like, are you skeptical? Like, take 3 seconds
Mm.
to think about how skeptical you are about the technique. And again, not only are you allowed to be, I think that's a sign of intelligence. But know this, until you've experimented it on yourself the way the protocol is designed, until you've experimented it with a few people that you're close to that won't give you, like, won't bullshit you into if they're feeling better or not, and people with whom you have the right to make small mistakes, right? Because they're close to you and you're maybe just starting out. But I mean, unless you've gone through the process that way, I don't see how you can bring this to market with conviction. And then obviously, if you're not convinced, you won't go as far as what you've done, which is to say, I'm willing to purchase the insoles back. And you won't sound convinced when you speak, and then you'll feel like you have to sell. And
Mhm.
no one likes the best
Mhm.
salespeople don't like to sell. They like when people buy, but they don't like to sell. So I appreciate you telling us like exactly how this has gone down for you. And um, because again, I really believe that practitioners listening to the podcast will think, okay, well, maybe then I just move on to something else because I quite frankly don't buy into the process, which is perfectly fine. I mean, you and I both think those people are making a mistake, but that's fine as
Mhm.
far as like, it's free will. But if there's a part of you like deep down in your gut, and I know it is for you and it is for me, that feels like this is solid. This is gold, and Dr. Brico's a genius, and how can we move this
Yeah.
forward? Then you have to live the process and you have to use it on a few people that are close to you first, and then use that as leverage organically, naturally when you speak to other people, and things will just start flowing. Um,
Yeah, for those that are skeptical that already go to, because I don't take insurance, I'm not a medical professional or anything like that, and I don't claim to be. But for those clients that like have to go to rehab because their insurance pays for it or their doctor makes them go to it or what have you, I tell them, listen, posturology plays well with others. It's not going to hurt anything that you're doing. If anything, it's going to make that stuff stick even better. It's going to make it's gonna work well, and it's gonna make what you're already doing work more effective. It's not gonna hurt the work that you're doing. And again, knock on wood, I have not ever had to, man, what, 6 years, you would know better than I how many insoles I've purchased. But I've never had to buy back a pair, knock on wood. I say that,
Yeah.
watch me, this be my first one this week. But
This
no,
week,
I've
if you
never
guys.
had to, yeah, I know, but I've never had to not buy it back with that commitment. But yeah, just trying to, again, it's just so unfortunately different than what's out there. It's hard for people to fathom, the results that we've shown and that we've gotten from myself, and I use results that other posturologists also post and talk about. um, but results should speak for itself. I shouldn't show the results first, and then we kind of work backwards from there, so to speak. And so that's what, yeah, this stuff continues to do for me, and I'm excited with the future, to get even more results with some of the crazy cases that I have now starting to come to me with this stuff, which is pretty cool.
And you'll keep getting more of those, and it's going to be educational in nature, and it's going to help you work with other and more people and different types of people, obviously, as you and I have spoken over the years, so which is
Yeah,
great. Jeff, I appreciate you taking the time to help our community, which really is what that is at this point, and it's an international one as well. So that's it's pretty awesome to think that we're now at the point where we can say we're helping people all over the world with talent, innovation, and just hard work in the trenches, which is what, guys like you, guys like myself are doing every day. So if that can help other people, I appreciate you taking the time, and I will be sure to put down in the links where people can find you, but maybe you can mention it before we end today.
sure. I use Instagram probably the most, at DC Sports Training. Um, you can message me if you have any questions, please feel free. I always try to respond. You can, I have a website, dcsportstraining.com. I'm on X, but I just use that as an answering machine. Yeah, I don't really do anything. Instagram is really where I'm most active. But yeah, no, Maddie, I appreciate you having me on for the first episode. I'm honored, man. I love posturology and everything you guys are doing, and the science is just mind blowing. And yeah, please, anyone that has any questions, feel free to reach out.
I appreciate that. Definitely your Instagram account, guys, you guys need to check it out. It's full of really concrete applications. People always ask me, okay, so how do you guys do it? I'm like, well, go go see Jeff's profile, right? Like, because you'll actually see the work live with a whole bunch of clientels, a lot of young developing athletes, movement
Mhm.
pattern stuff, posturology, functional neurology. The way you integrate everything, like I've told you before, I think is fantastic. And the perspective you're developing for integrating all these techniques is highly unique. And so I think people should go and check your profile. And thank you for remaining available if they have any questions. I definitely
Of course.
appreciate that.